Many business owners say this removal of the capacity limit won't change much in terms of how they run things, but they do hope it encourages more customers to come through their doors.
The business is needed for those particular establishments.
Major step for Connecticut and business owners around the state. Friday, Governor Lamont lifting the capacity limits for gyms, libraries, retail stores, houses of worship, hair salons, and restaurants.
For a long time, restaurants were suffering, and now that the capacity was lifted, it's much better.
Social distancing and mask wearing will still be enforced, which means some restaurants like Zahara in West Hartford will not be adding tables and chairs, but they do hope to see more customers.
100% capacity is great. That said, for Zahara, we won't actually be adding any, just out of keeping social distancing in place and plastic dividers. That said, as far as what the message that sends to the public is great, and that's definitely something to celebrate.
Some people we spoke with say they're comfortable dining in, while others want to stay on the safe side a little bit longer.
Everyone I've interacted with has followed health guidelines, worn a mask, and tried to socially distance. So I do feel safe going in public stores and things.
For us as a family, we still would prefer to eat outside.
The move having little effect on certain businesses like Nick Dorella's barbershop. He says his customers are appointment only, but he has noticed an uptick in foot traffic lately.
They're commenting how their traffic is worse going to work. Parking garages are getting full, so I feel like we're in the home stretch.
Although Governor Lamont making the decision to keep bars closed until further notice, and movie theaters and performing art venues will still be capped at 50% capacity. In West Hartford, Nia Maldonado, Fox 61 News.